All I can say is this the last segment I'm going to talk about this coworker of mine. Probably not. Welcome back to Whole Wellness. Thanks for joining me, guys. So this coworker that I've now talked to you several times about, we got into this whole topic in the last several videos because I had a reminder with someone else. Not everything is as it seems. People portray to the world in their public image, or what they present to the world isn't always the truth. And this is one of the things that related to mental health and getting into toxic relationships and narcissists and all that. If we're not paying attention, and that is the bottom line, we have to pay attention to the red flags. If we're not paying attention, this is how we fall prey. This is how we get ourselves into trouble and involved with toxic people. And perhaps not even with toxic people, but people who are just no good for us. And this coworker of mine, a little bit of backstory, I had the hackles on the back of my neck stand up with regards to her when I first met her and first began working with her. But I didn't work directly with her. She didn't affect my job. I didn't affect her job. But there were some vibes about her that made me uncomfortable. One is that everybody loved her. She was just this super, super charming person. Two, she was the most successful person in the history of the work profession in the world. Number three, she was a homemaker, a home baker, made the best sourdough bread, knitted her own sweaters and her own mittens and her own scarves and her own socks, and just had this reputation for being this incredibly creative person. Number four, she was cheerful and happy 24/7. Those things all together kind of made me think very early on, within probably a month of meeting her, no one can be this perfect. It's just superhuman. It makes no sense. Now, to some people, they don't care one way or the other if someone's superhuman or perfect or whether they're not. They just don't affect them. And so I, of course, tried to adopt that same thinking, and it has been successful. I don't care if she thinks she's perfect, because it doesn't amount to a hill of beans to me. The one thing that I did decide early on, because of those red flags that made me think, this person cannot be perfect. No one's perfect, but she presents as though she is perfect. I went and made the conscious decision. This is someone that, whether she tries or not is beside the point. I personally am not interested in getting close to this person because of these reasons. I just don't feel comfortable. I don't feel as though all that is presented to me, to the world, is as it seems. I don't feel like she's 100% transparent. Now, that happens a lot. I mean, lots of people present themselves one way, and then you find out the other way later on that they're not that way. And sometimes you think one thing about someone and you find out that they're way nicer than you originally thought they were, or they're very standoffish at first and you later find that they're very warm and friendly. So first impressions aren't necessarily 100% accurate, and they're also not 100% reliable. So we definitely have to take the time to tread carefully and investigate and pay attention so that we can make informed decisions about relationships. And this is one that very early on I had decided, you know what, I'm going to be real cautious around here. Fast forward 3 years we've worked together, I've had no opinion of her one way or the other. Meanwhile, everybody still loves her, and she's just the most successful person in our company, and there is nothing that she cannot do. But what's happened recently, and I had to reach in my purse and get my notes to myself because I knew between this morning and this afternoon when I vlogged, I would forget all of the stuff I was going to talk to you guys about. I can't really explain why now, all of a sudden, I'm starting to see more symptoms of things are not as they seem with her. And I vlogged about a few things that have happened recently. But I wanted to tell you a couple other things that I've noticed that I wanted to share with you because these are the kinds of things that most people may not notice, but now that this situation is on my radar, they are standing out so obviously to me. And it's compelling because I cannot believe others don't notice these sorts of things. Or maybe some people do notice it and they just don't talk about it, which is why I think it's so important to be open and transparent about our own mental health and our own experiences with toxic people. Because the more information you share, the more you find that there are a heck of a lot more people that have walked a mile in your shoes, or perhaps walked alongside or a similar path to where you've walked. One thing that happened is she came in this morning and she announced to the office very loudly that she had went and visited a sick coworker and made soup from scratch and a fresh homemade loaf of sourdough bread, and she brought it to her house to make sure she was doing okay. No one in the office would have done that. So that alone seems at first like such a kind and generous thing to do, but there's a part about it that sort of stinks to me. If you're genuinely kind and wanting to help a person out, you do this sort of thing, but you don't come into the office the next day and announce this grand, kind, generous thing that you did to the office. You don't make it public. You might tell someone if you get into conversation about it or you get asked, but you don't announce it loudly to the whole office about this wonderful, kind thing that you did. Because all of a sudden, it reeks of, I want validation, not I care for this person and hope she's genuinely doing well. 2, she comes in after doing something the night before that is not normally her work task, but she stepped up and volunteered for this work task, then came in the next morning and announced to the whole office, again, the whole office loudly, just not to one person in general, like in a private one-on-one conversation, but to the whole office, just kind of to everybody, that she did this thing and it went really well and it was a great success and she got all kinds of compliments about how successful this thing was. Saying that you did this task or stepping up and volunteering for it and then just letting it happen and humbly accepting the compliments or sharing it with the primary person that is responsible for these duties and saying, hey, people were really happy, just thought I'd let you know. Great. But announcing it to the whole room screams, I want attention. I want a validation. I'm doing all this great stuff. Please pat my back. Please give me a high five. Please give me chocolates. Please let me know that I'm okay. 3, this has happened so many times, and every time it has happened, I cannot believe it's kind of done this number with me. Kind of poked me, but I've then ignored the feeling and then went on with my day because it didn't affect me in any way. It's just something that went and caught my attention. You know what I mean? And that's that we have these weekly staff meetings, and about 40 to 50% of the time in these meetings, when we have to kind of go around and give everybody updates about what we're doing and the status of projects and things like that, make announcements and such, her announcements will consist of, I did this great thing. I did that great thing. I did this great thing. We raised this much money. This is where we're at, blah, blah, blah. All the big things that she's done. She goes out of her way to make these big announcements of what she's accomplished or what her small team of 2 or 3 has accomplished. Then she piggybacks it after she's said, hey, this great thing is something I've done or my team has done. Then the follow-up is, it's because when after everybody is high-fived and good job and everything, then she piggybacks her announcement. And this has happened multiple times. She says, oh, it's because of you guys. It's because of you that I'm able to do this. But still, It's about her and her wins and what she's done and what she's accomplished. So it's almost like that backhanded compliment that people give you. But I'm super glad that I made the decision that I'm going to keep an arm's length from her. I smile. I'm nice to her. I share funny stories with her. Well, here was another thing that was so funny that happened yesterday, but I keep my distance. Let me finish one thought before I tell you the next one. Yesterday, as we were leaving work, I was with 2 other coworkers, and as we walked out, she was walking in and she said to everybody that was standing around, "Hey, Ann, did you tell everybody that we went to the movies on Saturday?" And I was like, ha ha ha. It was so funny. She goes, "Me and Ann go way back. We're best friends." And she said it kind of in a funny way. And I thought, that's really odd because she and I didn't go to movies together, but she implied to everybody else that we did go to the movies together, like we're best friends. And as me and my 2 coworkers were walking out, I said, yeah, it was really funny. I wanted to clarify. I said, it was really funny. I never noticed that she and her husband were sitting in front of me at the movie theater at the matinee on Saturday when I went to see Downton Abbey. By the by, 2 thumbs up. I just wanted to clarify to them because internally, the sandpaper was being scratched. Like, whatever it was that she said, there was no point in saying it. She could have said, "Hey, Ann, did you tell everybody how funny it was that we ran into each other at the theater?" She didn't even have to say that. She could have said to me, and that's the other funny thing. The entire day passed and she never said anything about it. It was on the way out the door. That's funny and interesting. It's almost like she was looking for the perfect opportunity to say it in front of particular people that she and I supposedly did something together Saturday. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. I'm still learning, clearly. All I can really say is I'm glad I decided way long time ago that I'm going to keep her at an arm's length because I do not understand how or why, what the motivation is behind 98% of what she does. I know that some of what I've said in this video has resonated with at least a handful of you watching this because you have said to yourself, I don't understand why my coworker's doing the same thing, or my friend or my roommate or the person at the store or wherever situation that you might be in. You've thought, why is that person acting like that? And it's like, I don't know. I can't explain it, but I can say that that's one of those red flags you got to watch out for in relationships. Till next time. Bye.